Communications, the second to Housing and Finance, and the third to Housing and Jared Aid. I would like to ask for the committee's indulgence if we can just get these bills out of this committee. As I say, they've been double referred. They'll get a little bit more vetting if they come out at all in the second committees. And so we're going to start with the first bill, Senate Bill 2252. Senate Bill 2252 is a bill that would have the Mississippi Home Corporation establish a neighborhood housing rehabilitation program to preserve and improve owner-occupied properties in municipalities by bringing them up to applicable code standards and building codes and code standards. It is a program that is intended to try to deal with some of the blight and some of the housing shortages that we have in the state. It targets households with incomes at or below 50% of the area median income. Home Corp would be directed, the bill has no funding in it, but Home Corp would be directed to seek federal funds using the ARPA, if there are any funds left available there, CDBG funds from the Department of HUD, and any other federal funds that might be available. The types of projects that would be eligible would be modifications for disabled and elderly homeowners, improvements in weatherization and energy efficiency, and addressing lead-based paint hazards, among other things. This bill has, again, no funding. It is merely a means to give Home Corp the authority to seek federal funds for this kind of neighborhood stabilization. It is only for owner-occupied structures, and the chair will entertain any questions if anyone has them at this time. Senator Barrett. Senator Jordan, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You're asking for federal funds. You don't know how much you're asking for.
The bill does not call for any amount in the legislation. It's whatever Home Corp is able to access from HUD, from U.S. Department of Treasury, or any other federal agency. So there's no minimum nor maximum in funding.
Any in between?
There's no, so if they're able to find, say, $1 million, Senator Jordan, then they can put that money into a fund. The fund would be developed and dispensed through a special revolving fund called the Neighborhood Housing Rehab Program Fund, created in the state treasury to manage the funds.
I know we ask for as much as we can get, but some ideal of how much minimal you can live with or try to.
Well, I'll give you an example, Senator Jordan. Under the current conditions, Mississippi Home Corp receives $3 million a year from the federal government to establish and maintain the housing trust fund in the state. I would assume that amounts will be similar to that. $3 to $5 million would be my expectation.
Shouldn't we say that?
If you want to offer an amendment, so you're asking through your amendment that Home Corp.
I'm saying, if I was begging for money, asking for money, I would have some idea the minimum amount I could do something with, and the maximum amount they would give me. But to just say we asking for funds, they can say, well, we give them less than what you possibly need, but you set a designation amount. Some project of this magnitude, $3 million a minimal, or $5 million gross.
Well,
but we ought to be some.
If I understand your amendment, Senator Jordan, if you're offering an amendment.
Amendment, we asked for $5 million.
Okay, you've heard the amendment. Any discussion? Senator Michelle.
If I understand correctly, we're going to ask the federal government for an appropriation in this bill. Is that what we're trying to accomplish?
We're asking the federal government, we're giving Home Corp the authority to go to the federal government and seek federal funds to establish a housing rehab program.
So we're going to cap it at $5 million? Okay, what if they want to go ask for 10 million? It's be great.
If Senator Jordan's amendment is
A
accepted.
minimum of 5 million, then. Let's put it that way. A minimum of 5 million.
Okay, so what if they were able only to get 4 million? With, if you amend it where it's at least 5 million, then they couldn't
Oh,
accept
minimum.
anything less than 5 million.
Hey, what now? Mr. Speaker.
You said that if you were to amend your amendment to say a minimum of 5 million that they would go after, but they could receive more than 5 million. But according to your amendment, your possible amendment, they would not be able to accept the money if it's less than 5 million. So Senator Jordan, I understand where you're going with this and what you're trying to do to help us get as much money as we possibly can, but I really don't think we need to tie Home Corp's hands by putting any minimums or
My
maximums.
amendment, but I know if I was begging, I would say at least a certain amount, but I withdraw the amendment. I just say we want federal funds, and then they're gonna say, well, let's give them 100,000, and those are federal funds, and that won't be able to do it any good anywhere. Of something of this magnitude in terms of needs. That's where I was trying to come from, but I withdraw my amendment.
Yes, sir. We understand your sentiment, and I agree with you, but I think we might not want to put a dollar amount in it just yet.
I withdraw my amendment. Carry on.
Yes, sir. Senator Barrett.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Municipalities in my district have expressed concerns about blighted property.
Yeah.
And not having the funds or the wherewithal to improve or destroy those properties. And if they do destroy them, which is allowed by the statute, there's no one to pay for the services for which they have, I guess, taken care of the blighted property. So I guess this specifically deals with repairing a blighted property, correct?
Repair of properties in danger of being blight and that are owner occupied.
Okay. And in doing so, the state would have no ownership interest in this. This would just be an improvement on that property to get it back to code. Is that correct?
As I understand it, I think it's very similar to, if you're familiar with the LIHEAP program, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, and the weatherization programs that the federal government already provides to low income homeowners. This is similar to that. It would just be a loan or grant program that would be established according to the rules and regs of Home Corp to assist those homeowners who are 50% of the area median income or less to be able to improve their properties.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? If not, do I hear a motion? Yes, sir. Oh, Senator Hawkins, I didn't see you there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in the bill, I guess under section number 4, it talks about using the unencumbered funds that are not otherwise encumbered. You said something about owner occupant, but it talks about lease purchase programs on line 156. Promote innovative programs for home ownership, including but not limited to lease purchase programs. Is it funding lease purchase programs? Does the occupant have to be the owner of the dwelling, or is it people that are leasing? Because that gets into
Well, as I understand it, this bill was supposed to deal only with owner occupied housing, and that assistance would be provided to them.
maybe we can visit with Home Corp as we go through the process. I just was curious because I remember you saying that, but then I also, if you're going to do a lease purchase program and somebody else owns the house, is there not any responsibility on the current owner to help get it to code if they're leasing it to a tenant?
Mm-hmm. That's a question that I cannot answer right now, Senator Harkins, but we will get an answer if the bill gets through the process.
All right. Thank you.
Further questions? Are you a motion? All right, the motion is title sufficient do pass on Senate Bill 2252. All in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, vote nay. Ayes appear to have it, ayes appear to have it, ayes have it. The next bill is a Mississippi Workforce Housing Tax Credit, is Senate Bill 2253. And this bill is a reworked bill that essentially mirrors the federal low-income housing tax credit. This bill is called a workforce housing tax credit, but it essentially mirrors the federal low-income housing tax credit. We have about 100,000, a need for 100,000 affordable units in Mississippi right now. And Home Corp tells us that they have a real problem because of four things where they can't close out loans or projects that they have funded with their existing resources. Some of the problems include the fact that the cost of building materials has gone up, labor has gone up, insurance has gone up, and interest rates, of course, have been challenging. And what this bill would do would be to essentially create a $4 million workforce housing tax credit annually that would help close the gap on a lot of these projects. The Mississippi Association of Affordable Housing Providers is supportive of this bill. We had a hearing back in the fall where they came and testified about the fact that there are many, many challenges that are occurring in this marketplace because of the challenges I just mentioned about interest in housing, materials costs, and labor costs, as well as the cost of insurance. And so they have a number of projects that are right at the edge of being funded, but the funding isn't available because they've run out of funding. So this would provide a state source similar to what we do with the New Market Tax Credit Program, where we have a federal New Market Tax Credit Program, but we also have a state New Market Tax Credit Program. This would essentially create a state version of the tax credit at the state level that mirrors the federal tax credit. If there are no questions, I'd like to yield the questions at this time. And this bill is being double referred to finance, so I will get, if we pass the bill today, I'll get with the chairman and have a discussion as to whether he's going to bring the bill forward in his committee. But if we could move the process along by getting it to finance and have finance do some additional vetting. Any questions? Do I hear a motion? All right, the motion is title sufficient do pass on Senate Bill 2253. All in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, vote nay. Ayes appear to have it. Ayes appear to have it. Ayes have it. Now, this final bill is a bill on Mississippi does not have a Fair Housing Act on the books. This bill would essentially establish a Fair Housing Act that basically prevents discrimination in the housing market from a seller, from someone representing a seller, or anyone in the real estate market who has an opportunity to sell or convey property to another person. It's pretty much straightforward. It follows the federal guidelines in terms of what the federal fair housing law calls for. The bill is double referred to our committee and Judd A. And Judd A will look at the legal ramifications of our passing this bill if it leaves this committee. Does anybody have any questions? All right, if not, do I hear a motion? Motion is title sufficient do pass on Senate Bill 2251. All in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, vote nay. Ayes appear to have it. Ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it. Senator Michelle moves you rise and report.